Throughout your career, chances are you've needed to communicate the unique value of your organization, educate target audiences, and recruit top talent. Video is one of the most effective marketing tools to accomplish these goals, but it can be daunting. It takes careful planning, specialized equipment, and the right team to not just execute your vision, but provide strategic direction based on a deep understanding of your goals and your audiences. Middle is that kind of team. We understand rural audiences because that's who we are, and that's who our neighbors are. Living in Manhattan, Kansas means we are at the center of the stories you want to tell. Over the last 15 years, we've partnered with over 300 brands to tell rural America's story. So if you're looking for a production partner who is close to the work, can speak your language, and will be a steward of your goals, we're the team for you. Keep watching to learn more about how we work and what we can do. We hope to hear from you soon.
We were actually traveling for a different sorghum video shoot when I got a phone call from Clint at the Checkoff, and he let me know that their board had recently approved of some YouTube advertising that was going to be, solely focused on driving consumer awareness. And so took that phone call, was really excited because we knew there was an opportunity to do something pretty neat with the creative.
After conducting some research, we learned that sorghum has this perception of being the forgotten grain. And being forgotten is almost worse than just being completely unknown. And so that's where the real challenge was that we had to solve. How can we take sorghum from being the forgotten grain to the unforgettable grain?
What made production for this project so successful was our pretty extensive pre-production planning for this. We spent a lot of time before we ever filmed anything coming up with concepts and ideas to execute. So coming into production as prepared as we were with all of the planning up front allowed us to really experiment in the studio.
With a project like this, with a lot of unknowns, as a creative agency, we got to solve a lot of problems and try a lot of things that we've never done before, which really made the project pretty exciting. And the payoff of some of those shots, really, really rewarding.
One of the most interesting shots and ideas we had was trying to go from quinoa and transition that in a cool and energetic way into sorghum. So the idea we came up with was we would have this quinoa bowl, and all of the quinoa would flush up into the air, fill the frame, and then as it falls back down, we would fall down into sorghum. And translating that from vision to execution involves a lot of steps and a lot of trial and error and experimentation.
The biggest challenge with this campaign, because we were working with 15-second and 6-second ads, was prioritizing and defining what is the one thing we want to focus on in each one of these ads. And so we wanted to compare sorghum to quinoa using very specific facts, and also to show how sorghum can be used instead of quinoa to make that connection really quickly for the viewer. We also wanted to touch on sorghum as a pet food ingredient, and so that was certainly a focal point for one of the ads. And then finally, we wanted to do just a brief overview of how to cook whole grain sorghum, because that's one of the most common ways that it's used in the kitchen.
So with a mostly digital campaign, we knew that Sorghum Secret was going to need a great digital experience for click-throughs. When you saw the ad, clicked to learn more, and landed at the website, we wanted to hit users with something a little bit more outside the box. With Sorghum Secret, we knew we just wanted to talk to consumers. We wanted to do it in a way that was fun, exciting, colorful, vibrant, and really made sorghum stand out from some of the other commodities.
The goal really was to just provide as much information as possible for the user in the most interesting ways. And so as a consumer visiting the page, we put ourselves in the mindset of what is there to learn about this grain? What can I do with it? How can it benefit me? How can it benefit my family?
What made this campaign successful was our team's ability to take a pretty broad ask, which was make some video ads for a Google ad campaign, and turn that into a focused strategy, which was show that sorghum is food's best kept secret. And with that strategy clearly defined, we were able to create some really effective and unique videos for this ad campaign. And the entire thing is just something that not only our team, but the client is especially proud of.
SorghumSecret.com. Hey, guess what? A serving of this provides more than double the amount of protein as a serving of quinoa. What's this, you ask? Wouldn't you like to know? Sorghum Secret. Hey, want to know the secret to doubling the amount of protein in a quinoa recipe? Use whole grain sorghum instead. You'll get more fiber, more iron, and more of that sweet, sweet, nutty flavor. You're welcome. Sorghum Secret. Sorghum Secret. Hey, want to know the one ingredient that's really hiding in all of those non-GMO, gluten-free, protein-packed, ancient whole grain products your pets love to eat? Sorghum Secret.
We've been working with U.S. Wheat Associates for a little over 5 years, and in the last couple years, kind of the world at large has been hearing a lot about sustainability. We heard from U.S. Wheat that both, international buyers as well as domestic farmers here in the U.S. wanted to be, both hearing more about sustainability and sharing more about sustainability, and so we teamed up with them to develop stories of stewardship. Wheat inherently has a lot of sustainable traits. The way that wheat is grown in the U.S. is largely sustainable process, but never before had anybody really taken the time to kind of gather all of these stories or gather all of this information to really paint a picture for people who might not know that much about what it takes to produce that commodity.
With U.S. Wheat Associates, we have the advantage of having worked with them in the past, so our team has gotten to know the wheat industry very well over the last few years with this partnership. It's a partnership of trust, and we can collaborate together with understanding really what they wanted to accomplish, but then be able to be a true creative partner and bring that story to life on camera.
Working as both cinematographer and editor for this project gave me a unique perspective on crafting the final story. We covered 5 different states with 5 different farmers, all doing different sustainability practices. In the end, it kind of ends up being like a puzzle that you get to put these pieces together to tell the best story and show what these farmers are doing.
The approach to capturing sustainability had to be an informed one because to every farmer or every person, sustainability means something a little different. So it was really important to listen to what the farmers were saying, but also what they were doing in their sustainable practices because every region has a different climate and different needs for the farming land. So, what was sustainable in Oklahoma wasn't necessarily the same as what is sustainable in Ohio.
So Stories of Stewardship was meant to take a look at a farm-by-farm level at some really specific practices, things like tiling or no-till or like cover crops or rotational grazing. It was meant to take those individual stories at a farm-by-farm level and shed light on those stories, tell those stories, but then at the same time, how do we paint a broader picture about what it means to be a sustainable farmer, whether you're growing wheat in North Dakota or Oklahoma or the Pacific Northwest?
With the ever-growing population and the shrinking land base, the land we are producing crops on must be done in a sustainable way.
Farmers have a unique perspective of longevity and sustainability because our livelihoods depend on it.
First and foremost, we are stewards of this land so that we can pass it on to the next generation.
The farm, it is a passion, but it is also a business. When we can make money, when we can make profit, we can do things that make us more sustainable.
Wheat is the most reliable plant that we can grow, and it's going to stay foundational on this operation for as long as crops are grown in the U.S.
And our buyers know that.
Because the soil is our biggest resource, it is in our absolute best interest to do everything in our power to treat it well.
My name is Tom Cannon.
Darren Chellen.
Nick Jorgensen.
Art Schulteis.
And I'm proud to be a sustainable U.S. wheat grower.